Welcome, everyone, you brave or morbidly curious souls. This is a quickly slapped together endeavor and under rehearsed, so buckle up. Apologies, first off. This might be squeamish for some, and if my tone is inappropriate, it is not meant to offend. It's just my way of dealing with this odd new fact in my home. My imagination is splendidly vivid and much darker than I thought. Um, okay, I've lived here for 45 plus years. And when I give tours, I always deem this my favorite room in the house, mostly because of its dance floor size and elegant marble walls, not to mention the built in storage. Now, with this new wrinkle, not so much and odd. Some of you have been here before, may have even used it to refresh yourselves. So, backstory. I've fallen in with a gang of genealogists. San Francisco has a lot of historians, and my little foray is really small potatoes by comparison to their concerted efforts to unearth the past. I'm lazy and compulsive and stumble down rabbit holes because my academic rigor is faulty. I made a couple of short highlight movies of the two long-term resident families that lived here before me. It's my best effort to save polite friends from my long-winded stories. I have seen your eyes glaze over, and I often suggest that you choose a safe word. Okay, so last Thanksgiving, I found the first owner's 1872 trial testimony about a murder next door. Today, the shop sells religious items from Santa Rita to Catholic devotional prayer candles. But 150 years ago, a tailor stabbed his wife 22 times after she threatened him with a hatchet during a jealous fight over his fondness for their 16-year-old adopted daughter. There are all sorts of details that you can find in the newspaper articles I gathered on the site. So why this now? And I'll ask you what I've been asking others. Would you want to know about a grisly murder that happened in your home 150 years ago? Quick show of hands. Okay. When I asked my genealogy experts, they would all want to know because that's what they do. One is an ex-private eye, so grisly murders are been there, done that for him. One politely asked me if I was okay with it. I might want to check out what happened to a Charles Brown in 1922. So I did. That was 2 weeks ago, and here we are at the scene of the deed. So here's what I found so far: a marriage license, 2 newspaper mentions, and his funeral notice. And from these, we learn he had 2 children and ended his life a week after his 41st birthday. Also, a member of the WOW mission camp and captain of their drill team. So, for those of you that may not have taken the time to read this, while his wife Elizabeth was preparing dinner last night, Charles Brown stepped into the bathroom of his home and cut his throat. Mrs. Brown heard the noise of the falling body and, rushing to the bathroom, discovered her husband in the bathtub dead. He was a grocery clerk and had been out of employment for 4 months. This, with illness, had made him despondent. I asked for tributes from those that couldn't attend. Mark Harris offered this. To set the scene, I'll read from a 2016 article I found by Lisa Hicks. Death was everywhere in 19th century America. Fatal injuries, disease, epidemics, and the Civil War made families acutely aware of mortality. A profoundly insecure time before Americans had Social Security, when anxieties about death and finances ran deep in the American psyche. The death of a husband could plunge wives and children into poverty. Women were not allowed to take out policies on their husbands, and if the husband bought the policy on himself, the money wouldn't be protected from creditors. To compound this reality, taking charity was seen as a sign of weakness. The thinking was, if a lack of industriousness made you destitute, well, then you got what you deserved. So grieving families also faced another layer of shame. In response to these fears, mutual beneficiary societies like Woodmen of the world made life insurance approachable and fun by packaging it in the familiar fraternal order culture of the day. If a man proved himself to be hardworking and of good character through his initiation trials, his social standing meant his family could quietly receive financial support from the lodge without the stigma of accepting charity. Woodmen of the World was founded in the early 1890s in Omaha, Nebraska by the innovative Joseph Root. He envisioned an organization that would clear away problems of financial security for its members. It quickly spread across the United States to become the largest beneficiary order at the time. Fraternal order membership reached its peak or golden age in the United States between 1890 and 1930, with as many as 1/3 of American men belonging to at least one secret society. In 1920, California had 5,000 members, with 500 in San Francisco alone. Eventually, there were roughly 10,000 drill teams nationwide. Wrapped in this guise, signing up for insurance seemed glamorous and fun, exclusively inclusive. It was an opportunity for networking and service. And before the days of TV, radio, or fantasy football, fraternal lodges offered plays, rituals, and camaraderie and allowed men to let loose, which kept members coming back for more and paying their ongoing insurance payments for that right. Apparently, everybody got an aluminum axe. The axe being a symbolic instrument to clear the forest to provide for their family, but also useful for constructing buildings and making progress. And they got a uniform, perhaps to be worn at meetings and certainly for public drill team exhibitions. As I said before, Charles was captain of the Mission Camp drill team. Besides local parades, they represented at all funerals for the order, leading a ceremonial procession for all local lodge members to the cemetery for a moving remembrance celebration, where in an elaborate ritual, they unveiled the signature perk of being a Woodman of the World. Their personalized gravestones. Through the mid-1920s, the local stone carver would receive full payment and the pattern from WOW, so all of the tree stones would be similar, and to assure no member of the order would be buried in an unmarked grave. Many times branches were added or broken off each time a family member was buried. The WOW motto, Dum Tacit Clamet, meaning though silent he speaks, was inscribed on each monument. Membership numbers soared thanks to WOW's innovations, which included offering these distinct tombstones, flaunting axe-twirling pageantry, and holding clandestine rituals that involved slapstick pranks and mechanical goat rides. As Lisa Hicks writes, sort of a combination of LinkedIn, GoFundMe, and Jackass. Secret societies like these came up with all kinds of gimmicks to get people to join. There was little entertainment, so these initiation rituals qualified by challenging new members to put their hands in fake molten lead. There were spanking machines and collapsing chairs, but the most outrageous was the Ferris wheel coaster goat.